What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Barric Boxing Liberty Foam Training Gloves. Alright folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review. As today we have the Barric Boxing Liberty Foam Training Gloves, and I gotta tell you, I'm excited for a lot of reviews, but I'm very seldom this excited. Barric Boxing is a brand that I've known about for a little bit, but I bought their classic American training gloves a year ago, and I bought them outright myself, and I told you guys it was an easy 10 out of 10, S-tier excellent glove, and they are for sure my top 5 favorite gloves I've ever tried. And I gotta tell you, these are right there with them, if not maybe even a little bit better, funny enough. I do love horsehair gloves, but these Liberty Foam training gloves have just been so awesome to use for the last 3.5 months since I've got them. As always, I tell you guys, I put the little disclaimer at the beginning of the video too, but these gloves were sent to me by Barric Boxing, which was much to my shock and surprise. And I'm still going to give you a 100% upfront honest review, as that's what Rich from Barric wants me to do as well. Especially because of how proud he is of this equipment, because Barric Boxing, to my knowledge, is one of like the 3 or 4 different brands that actually continue to make gloves that are in the United States of America. Now, I don't mean to sound like a cornball, especially with all the division that we have in our country right now in the United States. It does mean a great deal to me that there is a brand that's still making classic American craftsmanship awesome, and especially when it comes to the boxing gloves, because there used to be so much history when it came to different craftsmanship for sporting goods back then. If you watch my recent interview of John Gollum, who is the grandson of Jacob Gollum, who owned and created Everlast, he said that there were hundreds of people that made sporting goods back then that was expected to have good quality. So you keep coming back for more, basically. And that's basically what we have here. So I'd like to say this, maybe just to be generous, and again, not to be a cornball. I love that there's a great brand in the United States. I love that we now have a Barric Boxing family, now that the Gollum family, although Gollum USA still exists, I'd like to say that we have a new family starting a new Everlast for something to be proud of American-made glove. And again, like John Gollum even said, it's not necessarily about where it's made, it's so long as the product's good. The product here is damn good, and I'll talk about that more later. Barric Boxing, from what I've known for the last 7 to 8 years, I saw Carlo from C-Squared review a bunch of their bag mitts, and then I saw him do like a limited edition build of all his different gloves. I entered that giveaway, didn't win any. Dang you, Carlo, but that's besides the point. I emailed Barric Boxing and I asked if he could craft a pair of classic bag mitts, and he reached out to me and said, I don't know, because I have such a tight schedule. I'm a one-man show. I don't know if I'll be able to get to him. I had a lot of uptake from Carlo's video, basically, which was completely understandable. That's a lot of people to reach out to, but he kind of fell off the face of the planet for a couple of years, and then it was about 2 or 3 years ago after COVID, I want to say it was maybe 2021 or 2022, if I remember correctly, where I saw on Box Up Nation that he started selling limited quantities on his website, on Box Up Nation's website. They were both in Texas, so they linked up and they started selling Barric. So I really want to try it, but they were just so expensive at the time. They didn't really have the payment plan at the time either. They do now. And they were always sold out that fast, right? When I was able to go get it with a payment plan, they were always sold out. But then Barric Boxing made a website, and although it said you'd have a bit of a wait, I waited about 2 months for my Barric Boxing Classic Americans to come in, and I've loved them ever since. So when he reached out and asked me if I want to review the Liberty Foam training gloves, I said, absolutely. Don't got to ask me twice. You bet. So Richard's backstory, I don't really know a whole ton about. I want to say he was a combat veteran in the United States, and if I'm wrong on that, please correct me, but I want to say that he did serve in the military at least. And I do know that he went to school, and when he left school, he just loves old school craftsmanship, not just like boxing gloves, but period, like sporting goods, anything. And he even uses old school machinery when it comes to making the stuff. And on top of it, he's very, very proud that not only is he making things in the United States, but every single piece of this glove that you see was sourced from the United States, from the stitching, the foam, the leather especially, and everything else that you see in this glove was completely 100% produced within the United States. Right from when he gets the materials raw, right to when he ships you out the gloves, and even the bag that he sends them in and everything like that is all packaged and made by him. He's also a one-man show. It's him, and I believe he said a friend that does his quality assurance and ships them out for him and does the orders and stuff. So it's a one-man show on a very small workshop in his property in Texas, which is absolutely awesome. So I love that he's able to pursue his dream. That is, for me, what the American dream is all about. You know, life in pursuit of happiness, he's doing it. And I love that for him. So one brother to another in the United States, my man, especially with all the division that we have in the country, not to make it a political statement, I'm glad that he's able to do that. Al, shut up and do the review. I know. I get you. I always do that. So let's go ahead and go into the exact model I have for you today. I got these Liberty Foam training gloves in the hook and loop closure, the 16-ounce size and weight, and on top of it, I got them in the black colorway. From what I see on their website, the standard that you can get is just the black colorway, but I do see on Box Up Nation every now and again, they have like a limited edition colorway that you can go check out. They have like red, they had a black and red colorway, so you can always check out the website. And I do think Rich does do custom orders. I'm not going to say that for sure, but I do believe he does custom orders because I've seen them in blue before and green, and I see him on his Instagram page. I like and follow every single thing he does because it's just so fascinating to me. I hope I can go see it one day. I really can. I really do. But basically, you can get them solid black as far as like the standard colorway goes. You can get them in 12, 14, 16, and 18 ounces. I went with 16 because it just works well for me as a heavyweight. 18 would be fine too, but I prefer 16. And you can get them in lace-up and hook and loop closure. I went with hook and loop because I just prefer Velcro. That's just my MO, I guess you could say. I just prefer that. I guess as an MMA guy, it's just more convenient. And the Velcro on this is very strong, and it's very, very, very well measured, which is good. So again, for your exact reference throughout the entirety of this video, black colorway, 16-ounce hook and loop version of the Liberty Foam training glove. Now, when we go into the look of the glove, it's basic, very basic in fact. It is a solid black glove with a couple markings here or there and the logo. So we see that awesome black leather is just really reflective off the light. It is a nice smooth leather, and I'll talk about that more in a minute, and it smells amazing too. But when we go here, you can see it says Barric Boxing, and it says Texas made right there with a star. So that's a Lone Star, and you got the Longhorn right there, like the Texas Longhorns. I believe that is their state animal, is a Longhorn, and then on top, which is basically a big bull and cow, it's just Barric Boxing with a star, again, Lone Star State. You can see Texas made down there, and it looks like that classic embossed texture to it. You got the black Longhorn here, but you got the white background here, all the black text there. Again, you got all that black leather going throughout here. You have the black thumb attachment too. We come over to the palm, and you can see it says 16 ounces, and that's like painted onto the actual grip bar itself. All the stitching too is black. The piping is black on the inside of the thumb and the palm too. And you can see here again, it says Barric Boxing, Texas made with that Longhorn, and that's more like embossed or stamped into the leather itself, which feels really nice, and it's a nice, really cool silver color too. You can see here that the actual Velcro itself is black, and when we turn it over, the other part of the Velcro is black too, but it's that nice futuristic Velcro. It kind of has like that nice sheen to it. And when we open the glove up, wide on the inside, you can see there is a tag here. What does it say? Oh, it's the flag. It says Barric Boxing on it. And he, again, very proudly flies that it says made, see the American flag there, made in the USA right there. So tells you exactly what it is, and the rest of the lining is a solid black color that we have there. So overall, it's a fairly basic looking glove, and that's one thing Rich has actually talked to me about before, is that he doesn't really go for the big flashy design. He looks for classic design. And old school gloves way back in the day, like you think about, again, going back to the Gollum family, you have Everlast. Their gloves were literally red, brown, or black with an Everlast patch, and that was it. They didn't even have this. This is fancy by old school's terms, I guess you could say. Some gloves wouldn't even have a mark on it except for a tag on the inside. So that's actually kind of cool. I have some very vintage gloves by Everlast, and it literally had the Everlast patch down here and then an Everlast tag on the inside, nothing on the back. So that's, again, classic, works really well. Now let's go into the bread and butter of this glove, and that is the build. Starting out with the outer shell. He uses a really, really nice 3 ounce, and I'll go into what the ounce means. 3 ounce full grain cowhide leather. And full grain is the best quality leather you can get. That basically means it was taken off the animal in perfect condition, and he gets it all from the upper Midwest, states like Michigan, Minnesota, different places like that. And the reason why that's so good is because the climate for the cattle that get the leather from is outstanding. It's usually a nice mild climate, so you don't have a lot of insects that are constantly biting at it. The leather from that region is often softer and sweeter smelling and a lot smoother to work with. And on top of it, when you have full grain leather, that's why so many gloves use top grain, they shave all the imperfections off. Full grain means that there were no imperfections of the hide itself. And the 3 ounce basically means this: it's a thicker, more flexible leather. If you use a smaller ounce, it usually comes to the thickness of the glove itself. So some gloves will use 1 or 2 ounce leather, and that's why they're so thin. In this case, you can see we have some thick leather on here. And the leather itself feels padded because of how thick it is. And I always give you this fun little history lesson, but way back when, you can see how much I'm pulling off of the padding itself. Way back when, and even some hunters and gatherers do today, the more I research it, some different people would use like caribou or cowhide to lay on because it was so thick that it would act as a pillow. So they'd use it for a blanket because it insulated them and it was soft enough on them to be comfortable, which is absolutely outstanding. So this is genuinely the thickest leather I felt out of any glove I've ever tried. The other one that I can think is pretty close to how thick this is the Bryant Boxing. They have really thick leather too, but I think that's more of a Mexican leather, which is a bit more rugged to work with. Still a really good quality, but it's a little bit more rugged because of the region those cows come from. Whereas like Michigan, like my wife's family's from Michigan, it's kind of similar to New York. You're going to have some harsher winters and stuff like that, but again, it keeps insects out, doesn't bother the animals' hide as much, and they've evolved to kind of survive in that climate. Plus the cattle people up there take very good care of the animals. But when you have a 3 ounce leather on a glove, it's going to last you forever because it's going to be a lot more flexible and you're able to use more over the padding. So the padding has more durability, so it takes more of a beating. And on top of it, it allows the glove to breathe more. To give you an idea, usually coats that are made from cowhide leather use anywhere from 3 to 5 ounce leather. You use 5 ounce for a really thick winter coat that keeps all the wind out and stuff like that. And that's basically what you got going on here. So 3 ounce leather in a boxing glove is nuts, actually. I'm a leather freak myself. And the easiest way to describe the scent, it's like a super good quality coat that I've used for years that my grandfather owned, and his was made out of leather that was from that region of the United States. The brand was anyway, and that brand is no longer in existence, unfortunately, but it feels so soft and smooth, and you can see all the natural grain marks, and it was tanned so well. I don't know if this was a chromium salt tanning. I don't want to say it was vegetable tanned. I don't want to say it was an oil tan. I don't want to say it was drum dyed because I don't know. I don't want to be incorrect, but maybe Rich can correct me if he watches this. What type of tanning process they used, I don't know. But you can see all the natural grain marks, and it just looks and smells amazing. Best smelling leather of any glove I've ever tried. It's my favorite, I can say. The Gollum USA ones I got have more of a baseball glove scent to it, but these are just like, it smells like the best leather coat. Like I have a store nearby called Forever Leather. I walk in there. That's what this smells like. It smells so good. Off the topic of the leather, we go into the actual padding of the glove, and you can see it looks like it has a bit more of a give to it. And there's no horsehair in this like there was with the Classic American. This is the Liberty foam, as it says. And this uses a 4-layered NASA foam blend, and it also has some other foams in there. And I don't really know. I could say just high density multi-layered foams, maybe a little bit of latex in there for the pop too. But you can definitely feel the NASA foams. And he calls it NASA grade foam because that's exactly what it's used for. NASA being the, oh my God, I can't remember the acronym. It's basically the American Space Program, or worded that way if you're watching from across the pond or something. The National Aerospace Association. That sounds right. But basically, they use this type of foam on the inside of the spacecraft because when you go up in the air, it's a lot of gravity and pressure that's crushing all that metal down and stuff. So when you're blasting off, you want it to be able to kind of take that punishment. So basically what happens with this, right, is you have that the NASA foam on the inside. So when you punch, if it's going to stop gravity from crushing a spaceship, it's going to stop your punch from going through the heavy bag. No one hits that hard, right? So that's basically what you have going on here. And that's why the protection in the Classic American, although it was a horsehair foam blend, was still really good. This is 100% foam, so it's really built to protect your hands, which is really nice. And you can feel the thickness of the foam, especially up by the tips of the fingers here, and on the back of the knuckles, and on the back of the hand. It gets a little thinner by the back of the hand. That way it kind of balances out a little bit more. You can see here, because I got the Velcro version. It's slightly more top heavy, but still when you strap it up, it's very well balanced because of that foam blend as well. The other thing about the NASA foam blend is 100% retention rate. So no matter what you do to it, which meaning you could put a 100-pound weight on it for 10 years and it would come out and look just normal. You'd probably indent the leather before you did the foam on this. So that's a really cool part about the NASA foam. It's not really going to get beat up, and it's going to constantly keep regenerating, which is great. So that's why he says this glove will last you years upon years upon years compared to a lot of other gloves out there where the foam is more of like your high density foams that you see in mattresses or cars and stuff like that. This is more like what you'd see in a spaceship. I hate to say it that way. So that's why when I talk about how expensive the glove is, it's because the materials he's using ain't cheap, right? I can't imagine NASA foam sheets is going to be the most inexpensive thing on the planet. So that's basically what you got there. And the leather alone, folks, is going to cost, I can't imagine how much a sheet of, I never looked into that actually, how much a sheet of 3-ounce leather actually would be. But that's a different story. When we go into the thumb of the glove, you can see we have more of that NASA foam blend here in the thumb, and it's actually just about as thick as it is on the base of the wrist as well. What's nice is that it lines up here. It's a separate thumb, as you can see the stitch, that way it can align a little bit better, and you can see we have a perfectly aligned thumb. It's a perfect medium size. It's not fat like a Mexican thumb. It's not too narrow like a Japanese style thumb. It's perfectly in the middle, and it definitely has that classic American style fit, kind of like an old school Everlast glove would have had back in the day. That way it curves behind the knuckles just enough to keep you protected. You can also see that the padding here goes past the 2 punching knuckles, which are 1 and 2 here. Boom, boom. And it keeps you nice and protected so you don't jam your thumb either. I've never once jammed my thumb, but the nice part is the tip of the thumb, very, very padded with that NASA foam. And even if I went like that, I don't feel my fingers going through to it at all, which is great. When we go to the wrist support, you can see here when I take the strap is it's strapped to the inside here, so it doesn't have a big stretch to it, which honestly isn't bad, because I did mention with the other Barric boxing glove that it did overlap slightly, the strap did, but as you can see here, it comes right here perfectly, and it's not a bad thing at all, and it straps perfectly around the wrist. There's a little bit of that NASA foam blend that's going down here towards the base of the wrist, and also completely on the back of the wrist too, which is also nice. It's very nice on the inside of the lining too. You can feel that that's also padded. When we come over here to the palm of the glove, you can see that the grip bar itself is actually pretty firm compared to the rest of the glove. That's the one thing. You get a really nice squeeze with this grip bar, and the piping is also just about as firm, but it's still soft enough to where it's not going to bother the inside of your hand, which is great, because some gloves have too tight of thumb piping. It can really kill your grip and kill your overall momentum. You have some nice EVA foam. It feels like EVA foam. I'm sure it's not just standard EVA foam, but you have that here, and that's just so it can kind of see how it opens like this. It can kind of wrap around the base of your wrist easier, and you have that on the other side too. It can also take some punishment off from punches and kicks and whatnot. You don't really have an elastic strap on the inside because he says it's ergonomically shaped to where you do not need it as much, which is awesome, and I agree because it is in a perfect fist position, and I'll show you that in a second. The interior lining is a nice satin nylon liner, and it was a DWR's coat, and DWR is memory durable water repellent. The idea is, as it says literally on the website, is he doesn't want the inside of the glove to turn into a swamp. So I've tried it just for fun. I've worked out in these without hand wraps on. For one, it's protective enough to where I can do that easily, and then left them in my gym bag overnight, which is my cardinal sin, and I came back and they were still really not that wet. So basically DWR, the durable water repellent, is just to basically make the lining hydrophobic. It's scared of liquid. It doesn't want anything to do with it. It doesn't want anything to do with water especially. So when you sweat, it's not going to make the inside of your glove a swamp, and it's also going to stop odor from getting inside of the glove. The best part is since it's going to repel all that moisture, all the bacteria and stuff that's in the salt and the sweat and all those different things that come out of you, it's not going to get into the padding and bleed into the padding or anything like that, because that's what kills the inside of gloves. I tell you guys all the time, bad smelling glove doesn't mean it just smells bad. It's probably killing your glove slowly. It's making your glove sick. Think if someone smells bad long enough, believe it or not, it could actually affect their health and skin issues and all those different things. The same thing with gloves. Take care of your stuff. Let it air out. I've not used any products on this yet, even the leather honey, because I haven't had to, because it's that good of quality. Same thing for the inside. I haven't even wiped it down because it just does that good a job. Maybe I should, but you know what? I haven't had to yet. When you put your hand on the inside of the glove, it fits so naturally. There's no bunching up towards the tip of the fingers. You do feel a bit of a welted seam that's covered on the inside of the grip bar here, right at the base of your fingers, but it's super soft, and it is in the most natural fist position that you can get out of most gloves you're going to try. guy. Now the Velcro version, again, straps up perfect. And does it come off my hand? Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, if I wrap my hands up fine, it's not going to slide off. And the one thing about it is that it might slide off if I do that. Tons of good gloves I've done or use, I've done that. But it's very hard to do that when I'm in such a natural punch position. All I'm doing is right here, right? All I gotta do is close my fist, boom. But it still opens perfectly so I can get good parries and clinches. And Rich actually has a couple MMA friends, a few that I don't know if they've moved on to the UFC or if they're still in the LFA. Apparently I fought on one, the same card or like around the same time. But you can get really solid clinch if you're an MMA or Muay Thai fighter. So this is great for multiple sports. Same thing, the back of the arm, back of the neck, top of the head, underhooks, different things like that. And you can grapple really well in these. And the best part is your fingers don't creep out of the glove whatsoever. So I can open and close as much as I want, unlike some Thai gloves I tried where my fingers kind of slide down. It stays in one spot. So that's why I say it's okay if it does this, because my hand's going to stay put no matter what, unless I really open up my hand and pull out of it. The lining, oops, my bad. The lining feels so comfortable on the back of my hand. And like it said, it's a satin nylon liner, and it's like a satin pillow on the back of your hand. It feels so good. And when it comes to the padding itself, I cannot feel the outlines of my knuckles at all, but I get a nice pop when I hit the bag. And whenever you hit the bag as hard as you can, it gives you this loud crack and thudding sound, and it feels and sounds amazing. It just makes you feel powerful, and it's absolutely awesome. Best part is I do this on my knuckles, I can't feel it. The back of my hand, nothing. I don't feel anything there. My thumb, right here at the tip of my thumb, like you can see, I'm hitting that pretty hard. Same thing on the back of my wrist, and I feel no impact. It feels so good on the back of my hands, and it's just one of the most comfortable fits and feels that you can get. Protects your hands as well. Is it a little bit more top heavy because you got the Velcro version? Yes, but when you strap this up, it balances out the glove perfectly. Now, obviously, if I do like my center test, which I put my hand on the center of the glove right here, like I'm kind of keeping it balanced. The moment I kind of let it go, you can see that it's tilting towards the front, but it's not falling down, right? I would usually see the glove fall down by now. Now, if I do it a little bit further towards the back, now it's going to fall, but it's not falling down all the way. So when you strap this up, it perfectly balances it out for me. And I also like a bit more of a forward punch, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't make a difference to the quality and performance of the glove at all. Is it as well balanced as some other gloves I've tried? No, but when you strap it up, it basically becomes as well balanced as everything else I've tried. It's not like, I will say Hit and Move is the most aerodynamic glove I've ever tried because of their dart padding. That is the most straight punch that you're ever going to get. The most balanced glove, in my opinion, you'll get. But this still feels awesome. I think the protective qualities is outstanding. I think the feel that you get from this, even if you like a pillow glove, a defensive glove, or a puncher's glove, it crosses all boxes for you. The only thing is compared to some defensive gloves that I categorize that, is not as rounded. It's more of a flat punching surface here. It's more rounded towards like the outside here, and it's not bigger than most gloves that you're going to try. Still covers my head pretty well, but for the most part, it's a pretty average sized glove, which is good. But the hand compartment has tons of room if you want to use a big fight wrap as well. I've tried that too, you know, gauze and tape for boxing or MMA. And you can also use your winning knuckle guards or whatever knuckle guards you want to use inside this glove, and you'll have plenty of room to work with. So with that said, I've babbled on long enough. A lot of cover with this glove, especially for what you're getting. So let's go into the bag work, and then we'll come back with my final thoughts. What I love about these gloves is obviously the quality and the durability, especially for the price that you're going to get these for, but the fact that these work perfectly for sparring, bags, pads, they do everything perfectly. For me, I love the balance of the glove. Although they have that vintage look of that overly puffy boxing glove that you'd see your favorite boxers from like the 70s and 80s use, it's so well balanced, and the natural fist position that you get on the inside of the glove is outstanding. The thumb position is so comfortable, and honestly, the mixture of the NASA foam gives you that awesome sink-in puncher's feel, that really good pop that you crave in a good boxing glove, but it protects your knuckles so well, it's almost therapeutic when you hit the bag. Easiest way to word it is whenever I hit, I feel virtually zero impact going down to my wrist, my elbows, or my shoulder. So they are a very safe glove. They're very well balanced, and they do everything just beautifully. Bags and pads in these gloves is a pleasure. I think they're one of the most comfortable gloves I've ever used, if not the most comfortable, and just one of my favorite gloves, period, I've ever used. When you have a glove that performs this well, you don't need it to look fancy. And for me, pulling off a black color with a basic logo on the front is absolutely awesome. And for me, especially being from the United States, that Longhorn screams Texas. And I absolutely love the look of the glove. Again, very basic, but when you put this on, you understand why it's basic. The glove speaks for itself, and I love the classic black look to it. All right, folks, my final verdict here on the Barric Boxing Liberty Foam training gloves is, just like the Classic American, these have already taken easy in my top 10 favorite gloves I've ever tried, and I do slightly like these more than the Classic American. I love horsehair foam blend gloves, but just something about these, the way they fit, the way they contour to my hands, and the fact that they spent over a year and a half designing this glove, they just fit my hands better than most every other glove I've tried, and they're so good. I have no other way to word that. They're just outstanding. And one thing I want to talk about before I go into my rating and all the different things about these gloves, because I know, yes, these were sent to me by Barric Boxing, and yes, they go for $600, and I'm going to emphasize that they have that hefty price point of $600 on them, and I've bought gloves for that much before, or close to that much, and I grade them harsher than I'm going to grade these guys, and here's a couple reasons why. I'm not defending myself, I'm defending the value of the glove that you might consider buying, and here's what I mean by that, because I have my opinion, the whole channel is my opinion, but let me word it this way. Grant, I bought for $600 a long time ago when I was in college, and I'd expect those to be of higher quality, but then as I get more gloves like, say, New Sporting, which are virtually the same thing as Grant's, I quickly find out that I'm buying the same cookie cutter glove that you get from Mexico with a Grant logo on it. That's what I spent on. Winning. Even the operator of Winning USA thinks that they're overpriced compared to what you can get now. Clato Reyes. It's the brands that drive that. I'm not defending a brand here. I'm defending the value and quality of what you're buying. And this is one of the few gloves out there where you actually are buying the materials that went into the glove and the operation that went into the glove. Not the reputation, not the brand, but the quality and the value of the glove itself. So yes, I will give it a bit of a pass when it comes to my grading of it, because when you buy a glove like this, I expect you to expect what you're going to get. That's basically why these reviews are so long and stuff like that, because when it comes to a $600 pair of gloves, are you going to go for that, or are you going to go for one of the other major brands? And I love some of the major brands. Rival's one of my favorite brands that got me through my entire amateur boxing career. I love Hit and Move. I love Hayabusa. I love Yokow and Fairtex and Venom to a certain extent. Twins. And I'm looking at a bunch of those brands. Reyes and even Everlast has good gloves here or there. But here's the thing. Those are the major brands that send you stuff all the time. And yes, they're very proud of their quality and their achievements and their craftsmanship, as they should be. But when it comes to this glove, for a one-man operation to do what he's doing with the materials that he's getting, yes, I'm defending the value, not my rating. I've had questions like that in the past. But when it comes to these, this is what my rating is, and I'll talk about that in a second. When we go into it, I always, with every single glove I review, I do what I like about it, what I would change about it, and of course, if it would be good for you. So with that said, let's go into the positives of the glove. First and foremost, out of any quality glove I've ever tried, and again, all those brands I just named have some outstanding quality, but there are also more of the mass-produced brands out there. Some of them have designer leather or Italian leather and you know, Mexican leather and really good quality leathers, all those different things. For me, this is just the best leather I've ever tried out of any glove as far as thickness goes. To have a 3-ounce thick glove as far as the leather goes, it's outstanding. Because like I said, most American-made coats are 5-ounce or 4-ounce, right? Some of them are 3-ounce when it comes to leather coats for winter time, right? And that's what you're thinking about. And those coats can cost over $700 to $800 on average. Some of them will cost even more if they're lined with the hide of the animal itself too. So you got to stop and consider that. The leather is outstanding. It smells good. It's soft. It's supple, super buttery, and it's very easy to clean as well. I've not used any products on this glove at all, and they still look brand new compared to some other gloves I've used. And I've used some products just to test it out. I don't want to test anything out on these gloves because they do that good of a job. I'd rather not mess them up somehow. That's how scared I am to mess with this glove, just because of how good a quality is. Here's the thing, folks. Leather Honey is what I use. I have no doubts that it would work well with it. But these are such a treasure to me that I would not even go near them with that. That's just my honest opinion. The knuckle protection for what you get in this glove is outstanding. Compared to Grant's, which is supposed to protect your hands better than anything else. I spent $600 on those. I'm like, wow, these really protect my hand, but not as well as these gloves do. That NASA foam blend, not bland, they're not bland. The blend is absolutely outstanding. Protects my knuckles well. I feel a nice pop and impact when I punch on the bags, pads, or sparring. I know I'm making solid contact, but I feel no direct impact on my knuckles, and it protects my hands and stops all form of shock from even going down to my wrist. But the wrist support is really solid too. I would think that the actual lace-up version would have better wrist support because, of course, Velcro closure is just not going to be as good as far as the wrist support goes. But Rich is very proud that his Velcro closures, he says, provide just as good a wrist support. But again, I always say that lace-ups is going to be a touch better in most cases. On top of it, that lining is absolutely outstanding too. Just the DWR, the durable, or DMR? Durable moisture repellent? Yeah, something like DMR. Durable moisture repellent, I think is what you would say. I can't remember. DWR? Durable water repellent? I can't remember. But either way, the lining is super easy to dry out. You let this glove sit out of your bag for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you're going to notice a difference that quickly. It's absolutely incredible. And I love that about the glove. So it's very easy to maintain. And for a glove that you're going to spend $600 on, yeah, it better be that much for $5.99. I mean, there's actually a video on Grant's out there too. I want to say his name was Quentin something, and he said, you know, I spent $600 and a year into using the gloves, the Velcro was falling apart, and I had to replace it and all those things. And that's an unfortunate story about grants and winnings that I see all too often. Not so much winnings as grants, but still, which is crazy. The thumb positioning is outstanding. The overall ergonomic feel of the glove is so nice. And like I said, it is just a touch top heavy compared to maybe the lace-up version. But that's because you have most of the padding in the top part of the glove here, and you just have the part that straps up to your wrist. But it doesn't slide off your hand at all. It's very comfortable, and it feels very good. It's not too clunky on the inside either, and the lining doesn't bunch up or anything. It feels a little bit crinkly by the fingers, but it's not like a bad crinkly. It's just like almost like you have slots to put your fingers in. But it's not uncomfortable whatsoever. The grip bar is a little firmer, so maybe some people that don't like that won't like that, but trust me, with a glove like this, you'll get over it real fast, in my opinion. And you also have that nice foam that really latches around your wrist really well, gives you a nice support too, which is always good. So overall, the quality, construction, and the performance of the glove, when I tell you guys, I try to break my hands in every glove I try, and I test its limitations. I could punch in this glove wrong, completely wrong, with my wrist flying all over the place. I have full confidence that I'm covered, to give you an idea. And I've said that about a couple gloves too, but these for sure. So these are absolutely awesome. Some of the drawbacks. Okay, so if I had to find things, because I'm able to find things that are wrong with gloves too, that might not be for you. Again, $600 is a lot of money, guys. I know that, but remember what you're buying, okay? And no, I did not get these. These were sent, and I tell you that at the time. But I'm telling you, for the person that might consider buying them, $600 is a lot. Would you rather $600 or get a pair of Reyes and maybe a nice groin guard set from Reyes for $600? Would you rather get a winning set for like $700, or it'd probably be more than that? Actually, it'd probably be closer to $1,200 for a cup, headgear, and gloves by winning. Yeah. Or you could go look at Spartacus, you know, like, which is a newer brand, and get a sparring set from them for like $5. You know, get the cups, the gloves, and then the head guard too, and everything. Head guard, headgear, whatever you want to call it. You know, Venom has sets. You know, I think Everlast has sets. Rival has sets. So yeah, you can get complete sets for a solid pair of gloves that you have here. That's up to you. But for me, if you're looking for something that narrows down what this is going for, classic American craftsmanship, built to protect you, built to last a long time. I would not be shocked if you could beat these gloves up every single day for 6 to 7 years and have them really last throughout that entire time. It's a glove that you're looking at. But would I like them compared to, say, like Grants and New Sportings and all those things? Yeah. But I mean, you can also get a new Sporting sparring set. So that's a downgrade for some people that aren't looking to buy this. But it's as simple as just don't buy them in that case. But that's not what we're looking at in this case. So that's why I don't knock any points off for that, because of what you're getting. You're from Barric Boxing, you know you're buying that. I'll word it that way. And then I guess, like with the Velcro version, for me, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. So I don't knock any points off, because again, the score is more my criteria. You could say that it's a little bit more top heavy compared to some other gloves out there, especially if you hold it from this point. But still, when you strap it up, it really evens itself out. But there's a lace-up version, and you can always use a lacing loop, and it'll work just fine in that department. That's the way I would word it to you. And I want to say, funny enough, Rich had something to do with the design of lacing loop too. So there's that. So I think they definitely work well with lacing loop. But in general, those are like the nitpicks I would give you. You know, would you rather get a sparring set from Rival, or would you rather get one pair of gloves by Barric Boxing? Not knocking any points off for it, because again, when you buy something like this from this brand, that's what you're going to expect. So I don't think anyone's going to be shocked by the rating I'm about to give this. If I had to give these a score out of 10, it is an easy 10 out of 10. One of the best gloves I've ever used. S tier for an excellent glove. If there was a tier above S, I'd probably put it up there. But these are for sure in my top 5 favorite gloves I've probably ever used. Easily in my top 10. One of these days, I got to do just a top 10 favorite gloves that I've ever used. But Barric Boxing, I'm so happy that they've entered my life in one way or the other, because it's just changed my training experiences. I get just such a dopamine rush when I use gloves like these, and it's so refreshing, especially because I have to try all these different gloves for the channel, and some of them feel the same, some of them feel a little bit different, some of them do a good job, some of them do not so good of a job. So if I ever need a break from using 1,000 different gloves, and I get one of my favorite pairs, and it might be a pair of Rivals or Hit and Moves, and then Bryant Boxing's another one, or it could be a pair of Barric Boxings, and they just make me smile ear to ear. Every training experience in these gloves has been a great one, and that's all I could ever ask for in a pair of boxing gloves. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. If I answered all your questions, please let me know, and if I didn't, also let me know in the comments below, and make sure that you follow me on all my social media pages. That'd be Instagram. I'm active on TikTok here or there, but I respond to Instagram, and I also respond to the emails on the channel. Please, of course, like and subscribe. We're almost to 14,000 subscribers, and we're growing at a rapid pace. Got some new flavorful stuff coming to the channel too, as far as content goes. I hope you guys like it. And then on top of it, guys, thank you all so much for all the support. That means the world to me that you guys are on this journey with me, and I've loved every minute of it, and we're not stopping anytime soon. Please hit the notification bell too, so you can see reviews just like this, and that way you can share this with your friends too. If they're looking to try out a new pair of boxing gloves, they can look at a bunch of different reviews I have on the channel too. So with that said, folks, thank you so much for choosing your source of combat sports, the Combat Corporation. I've been your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and as always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.